everything.
Big Boys
Big
Neighborhood.
Boy.
I would have to say, man, that I have a dear friend in the neighborhood, and usually we talk about everything. I can't even say we talk about music. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not if a Black Eyed Peas record is coming out, if Taboo doing something, solo, going around the world DJing. But today we really have a reason again to sit down with our friend, and our friend Taboo is in the neighborhood. First off, Tab, when I say it is a pleasure to have you in the neighborhood, that weighs a ton.
Thank you, Big.
Man.
It's always an honor as a friend, as a brother, to be here with you exciting people. But today, the excitement is something that I'm going to share for the first time.
Right.
And I'm very glad that I got to use your platform and our friendship
Yes, sir.
to be able to tell my story.
Now, the story is I would say, a couple years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, I remember getting a phone call and us talking about, what was going on in life, and you specifically called me to tell me what?
So I called you to tell you that I was diagnosed with cancer.
Right.
This was in 2014.
What type of cancer was it, Tab?
I got diagnosed with testicular cancer, which is fortunately the cancer with the high survival rate.
Yes, sir.
But the whole experience of, June 24th, actually June 23rd, going into the hospital, the ER, having these crazy back pains that I've had over 6 years, not knowing why I had these back pains, but ultimately, the end result was I got diagnosed with cancer, and it stemmed from my right testicle, and it went between my two lymph nodes in my spine.
Is that because of time?
Because of time. So those 6
how long
years,
did 6 years it was growing?
6 years it was growing, yeah.
So
and I
when
didn't
you
realize
were
it.
all over the world
Yeah.
with that hectic schedule, being everywhere for everyone, you had cancer that was spreading.
It was spreading
in your body.
Yeah, and the reality was I was so focused on my career and going and touring, and I didn't listen to my body. And that was the most important thing. Is
and did you think it was just regular artist fatigue? And
I thought
being
it
so
was
busy,
man, I sat in coach.
Right. Oh,
God damn it, I sat in coach. What the hell? Who put me in coach?
Is Fergie here? Will.
My back is messed up.
On a flight, were you feeling pains?
I was feeling pain. It was me and Deja. We were on a 1 hour flight.
Right.
And I was like this, just crunched up, feeling like, oh God, Deja, what'd you do? Right. And then that night I went home and had the flu-like symptoms. My back was hurting, and then my abdomen was hurting. And so I went to the ER and did all these tests, CAT scan, MRI, and finally they told me, Mr. Gomez, you have cancer.
They told you that night?
The morning. So I was there from 12 midnight until 7 morning.
They found it in the emergency room, or your doctor came in?
No, in the emergency room. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So they had to do all those tests to really understand what the problem was. Because at first they were like, you have a mass. I was like, what's a mass?
Yeah,
I didn't know the terminology, and plus I was in so much pain that I just thought maybe I have an infection or something. And my doctor comes in, she says, Mr. Gomez, I want you to know that we're going to do everything possible, but you have cancer. So when they said cancer, they didn't say stage 2, they didn't say testicular, they just said cancer.
Right.
So the first thing I thought about was my kids.
Yeah, man.
Initially, in shock, I said, can I get a second opinion? They say, you could get a second opinion, but you're running against the clock.
Time, yeah.
Time.
Wow.
I was like, why? They said, because it keeps on spreading. And they said it came from the mothership. They called it the mothership, which is the right testicle. And we got to take that out. I was like, what do you mean take that out?
Right.
Can I get a second opinion?
They're like, nah.
Nope. So the next day I was in surgery.
So just that quick, from possibly coming from working, you're on a plane, you feel a pain, and did it feel like, Taboo, that your whole life, it had to feel like your whole life changed?
It did. Honestly, Black Eyed Peas didn't matter at the time.
I know.
Performance, all the things that I had been building career-wise, it didn't matter. Because now I was fighting against time to save my life.
And you totally go straight to your family.
You go straight into your kids, your family, and seeing, how did I get this? So you start questioning yourself. You start saying Was it because I went to Japan and there's like radiation, or you start thinking about all these crazy things because it's not in my family. I was the first person to get cancer in my family. And then they said, okay, so you got to go into surgery. Then
and this is immediate. You pretty much wearing the same outfit.
Day after day, day after day.
Oh.
From one day, get diagnosed. The next day, surgery. And then that Friday, I met with Dr. David Agus, who will.i.am, he's the one that had a friendship with them. Dr. David Agus is Lance Armstrong.
Oh, yeah. I know the
Robin
name.
Quivers.
I know the name. I hear him on
Steve Jobs.
Stern.
Yeah. So he helped me through my experience, and he said, we got to go straight into a chemotherapy. I'm like, what the fuck is chemotherapy?
So they had to remove your right testicle.
Right testicle. Right. Yeah. Right. I got a speed bag right now.
Go ahead now. I don't want to see it, but I'm definitely Taboo. I'm going to take your word. Unless you want to show it to us.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, unless you want to show it to us.
Yeah.
We believe you.
Man, so you go right from, so diagnosed.
Yes. Surgery.
Testicular cancer.
Yep.
Surgery. Right into chemotherapy. You don't even get a chance to really inhale.
It's fight or flight. 12 weeks, 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, 6 hours a day.
How scary was it, Tab, when you hear cancer? Because we know, for one, that is the scariest word to so many of us. And when you first heard it and you're thinking about your family, you're not thinking about Black Eyed Peas, but you're thinking about, did you think this is a death sentence?
I did. I did. I was like, man, what? I've been living my life to try to better myself as a human being, and I've been taking all my flaws and mistakes and trying to learn from them. And when I got hit with that, it was like so out of my control that nothing prepares you for that moment of shock, because that's the ultimate shock. When they say cancer or some disease that it's foreign to you because you're just going about your day and not really even paying attention to it, that the first thing you think is, damn, I'm gonna die.
Right.
I'm not gonna live through this.
Right.
No matter what stage I was at, I thought, you're playing head games with yourself and you go into shock. And then my wife is the warrior that kind of set the tone for being my rock. She was the one that said, we're gonna get through this. You're gonna fight through this. We're gonna be united at the forefront, in the trenches. I'm going to handle what I have to do with the kids. You go in there and fight because you're that warrior.
Dude, how scary must it have been for her as well? You know what I'm saying? It's not like, the bread maker. That's the husband, the love of your life, the protector, the father of the babies.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And this is something that you don't want to put on anyone. And sometimes you say, man, let me take it on myself.
Yeah. You try to be strong, and me as a person that grew up with, Mexican culture is very embedded in me. I'm Native American and Mexican. I saw a lot of machismo growing up. So a lot of times you get caught up in I could handle anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But this one, I was like, it's out of my control. I can't handle this one.
Right.
This one is like, I have to go into fight mode. So that following Monday, I went into chemotherapy and it took me out.
Man.
When I tell you, ladies and gentlemen that are listening, when I tell you that it was like war, torture, and a nightmare all in one, it just took my spirit, broke my mind, mental, psychological, my body, because you have to break down.
That's what I was going to ask.
The good things in your body to be able to kill that tumor or destroy that tumor. You go into the first round, and by the end of the session, which lasted 6 hours, you're taken out. So it starts off like, I got an IV in my arm. By the end of the day, you're just drained.
And Taboo, had you ever had any cancer around
Nothing.
you? Like
I've never
you had
had
never
anything.
seen someone do chemo and
None of that. So it was foreign to me.
Everything was like hands-on.
Hands-on.
I'm learning
First time.
as they do everything to me.
And even though I had, my friends and family there, a lot of times I was alone. And it's like the loneliest. I mean, you talk about people in prison, I could never comprehend that loneliness. But when you're dealing with your life,
right,
and fighting for your life and being in that center, the chemo center, you're just all these thoughts are going through your head, and you're playing all these head games because first of all, I had surgery, so I was on heavy medication, and on top of the chemotherapy, it's just like destroying my insides, taking me out, and all I could think about was my kids.
Mm-hmm.
None of this big. When I say none of this mattered, my career was not even relevant.
So you're not even thinking.
I'm not thinking
I need
about
to get
none
back
of that.
on. Will I get back on stage?
I'll get to there. I'll get to there. That was third round.
Right.
My first round is like, I'm by myself.
No matter how many people in the world, that's like for real.
It was for real. It was the realest moment. No hip hop situation could ever comprehend. Like, you know how you become part of hip hop culture and everything's about like being hard, or like you're battling against other MCs or battling against other B-boys, but I was battling cancer.
Mm-hmm.
I was straight up in my biggest battle of my life, and I grew up being battling other crews as a B-boy and as an MC, and now to be facing the biggest battle of my life was just, and it was out of my control, and I put my faith in God, something that I had never really tapped into my spirituality the way that I did when I was lying in that bed getting chemotherapy.
Taboo, you hear a lot about chemo. Now, for one, you had already cut your hair before you got diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
So what you hear people say no appetite, weight loss, your nails, whatever it was. What did you experience?
I experienced
from chemo?
Sensitivity in the thumbs and the fingers and the toes. I experienced my hair was gone, my eyebrows were gone. That was towards my third round. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep because I was heavily medicated on painkillers because of the surgery, and because the trauma of the chemotherapy was so strong that I was having nightmares. And
you had never had anything close to that feeling in your life?
Never, ever. I mean, I've had surgery. I broke my tailbone and had acupuncture and things like that, but nothing prepared me for this.
Right.
So, getting
Did you get sick a lot, Tab?
I did. I didn't throw up, but I got sick. I was like, I would see food and I would eat like this. So say this is like a piece of tortilla or whatever. I would just take a little piece.
Oh my gosh.
And eat like this because everything tasted like metallic. There was a metallic taste. And that was through the whole experience. So it would be moments where I couldn't eat for like 3 or 4 days. So I'm a skinny dude. I lost even more weight. So I was like 130.
No. What do you walk around now?
I'm 160. Wow. I'm still, I'm trying to get back to my fighting shape. So
really?
before I got diagnosed with cancer, I was in tip-top shape. I was eating right, working out every day. I was actually working out with DB and another trainer.
Dominatrix.
Dominatrix. Big shout out to him. Yushi from LAKO. So there was a formula and a steady regimen and routine of me working out. And I got hit with cancer, and it was like that whole workout. Maybe I was working out and dedicated to be able to fight off that experience.
Definitely.
What was a bad day like, Tab?
A bad day was coming home and not being able to pick my kids up, not being able to run around with them in the backyard like we used to. And the way that I broke it down to them is, they're young. I said, Dad has a boo-boo because I had a big scar from the surgery, and I'm not gonna be able to run around with you guys the way I used to. I can't pick you guys up. And they're like, why, Dad? And I said, because I have a boo-boo. And then I started explaining to them that I'm gonna get better. And they saw that my hair fell off and my eyebrows were gone. They're like, why do you look like that? So as a human being, and it's sad, I'm gonna say something that I want everybody to know, that when you're in that situation, you look in the mirror and you're a shell of who you used to be. And we're very vain, and a lot of times we're narcissistic, and we get caught up in our own physical. And I could honestly say that I felt myself going into that mind frame of thinking I was a monster, believing that because there was so many drugs and the chemo and all this was just, as a human being, you try to keep your composure, but I felt like I was deteriorating. I was actually becoming a poster child of what I envisioned as cancer when I saw a person with no hair, no eyebrows, and I was that person. And it's sad because I look back and I was like, how could I be so vain? How could I be so caught up in the physical? You're fighting cancer.
Do you ever at any point, Tab, you gotta say why me? Early on or at some point or
there
because you had the how did I's.
Yeah.
But was there ever a why me before you get to a why not me?
I don't think I got into the why me. I got into the let's fight.
Mm-hmm.
I went from the how could this happen, trying to formulate that idea of Japan, whatever the ignorance that I was making excuses for. I just went straight into fight mode, and then this is where the story gets really special. I remember my wife told me, she's like, why don't you try these meditation tapes? Because I was getting overwhelmed. I was having anxiety. So I tried this Deepak
Chopra.
Tried that. And I couldn't sit there and listen. So I took it off, put the headphones down, turned on the TV, and I saw Stuart Scott.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Stuart Scott at the ESPYs. And he was delivering something that spoke to me even greater than any MC or any music had ever spoken to me. Because he was talking about his daughters and talking about his fight with cancer.
Is that scary at the same time too, though?
No.
It's enlightening?
It enlightened me because I needed something to take my mind off of what I was going through. And then so I kept it on ESPN, and I saw Jim Kelly's story about his fight with cancer. Then I saw the story about Jimmy Valvano, and his fight with cancer. So all these warriors in sports and athletes,
like God is programming something right now.
Something
too.
is happening to me, and it's resonating with me right now. And so I tapped into sports even more than I ever have. You know, and I owe a lot of my recovery to Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, Kerry Champion, Mike from His and Hers. Because of that, I tapped into my inner spirit, my inner warrior, because of sports.
Was there ever, Taboo, any giving up as a human being? Just like
there was.
Yeah.
It was a giving up. I'm not going to do this no more. I'm not going into my next round of chemo. I'm done.
Yeah, they say chemo, man. They say it just knocks you.
It takes you
down.
out, big. It takes you out, and you are so stressed, and just it's a shock, and it's a traumatic experience that you want to give up. And I gave up for a split second, and then I saw the shows. Then I started tapping into my B-boy side, and I started watching B-boy battles, and I started watching the Nicholas Brothers, Soul Brothers from back in the day with Def Jeff, the Mop Tops, Divine Styler, and the Scheme Team. I started watching Bob Fosse and all these different influencers in the dance community to keep my mind sharp still, because I knew that my motivation was to get back on stage. It went from my kids, fighting for my kids, fighting for my family, making sure that I got that as my motivation, to the stuff that I love.
Right.
Sports became my number one love.
Were you a sports guy before?
Not as much as I am now. Right, Deja?
That's crazy.
I mean, I went from 0 to 60 because of that, because it spoke to me, and it gave me a chance to escape from the reality that I was going through.
Now, you say 4 rounds of chemo.
4 rounds, yeah.
From day one to when you're done, how long are you doing chemo?
5 days a week, 6 hours a day.
And for how long? How many days? Or
5 days a week.
But I'm talking about, is it
How many
2
months?
weeks?
It's 12 weeks.
Wow.
So that's 3 months. 3 months of chemo. And I had to do it all at one time because the doctor was saying that it could spread to my lungs.
It had to be extremely aggressive.
Aggressive. You got to go in because it's going to spread to your lungs. When he said these words, it's going to go to your lungs and eventually spread to your brain, and you're going to die. He kind of like had this crazy bedside manner, and he said, you're in an alley by yourself, and you're fighting these negative spirits and these demons. And I was like, oh shit, is this a nightmare?
Yeah.
Is he really painting that picture for me right now? So I went into Taboo warrior mode, native spirit warrior mode. That was like, let's go. I can handle this. And that's how I got over the overwhelming feeling of like I'm gonna give up.
Man.
Because I didn't give up on my dreams.
Right.
So you
that was a
hard,
give
that
up
was a
on
hard
life.
battle. Yeah. So I had a kid at 17. I didn't give up at being a parent. So I was like, I've had all these trials and tribulations that have been put before me. How do I go around it? How do I jump over it? How do I break through it? Because I've done this before, and I could get through this.
Man, you know, and it's sometimes taboo, and I've never been there. I've dealt with some of my own issues, but there's nothing that I can say.
That's why I called you, because I knew you kind of had the idea of having health issues, and we kind of are like kindred spirits because of that, and we know what it's like because you have kids and you have your wifey, and that feeling of not knowing if you're gonna be able to be there for them and see them grow. You know?
What we do, no matter what stage you step on, everything you pretty much do, you're doing for somebody else.
Exactly.
You know, if it's not your kids, it's that person that bought the ticket. It's that you know what I'm saying? It's never an extreme self-gratification. Just being there and getting the phone calls, and then when you were going through your rounds, you was like, man, I need, you know, this is it. Yeah. You know, and I think it was something going on with me because it was like a few days where everybody could come and see you because none of us saw you. Like, I just saw the commercial and for the video and the song. I didn't know what you looked like. You know what I'm saying? Or what you was going through. And you seen Cats. You seen Cats' energy. But when you say that fight was yours alone, it was. Like, there's nothing that anyone can do that could have said, man, let me take some of that. There's no check that you could write that you could have just said, all right, I'm out of here. And I didn't get a chance to see you until I saw what's in the video. My question to you, Tab, is why did you feel like it was necessary for Taboo to go public with it?
Because I want to be of service now. You know, I wanted to tell the world the last day that I had chemotherapy, and I told Deja, I said, I want to tell the world. And he said, hold on, Tab, you have something that could help others. You could help others with your story. And so I held on to it. And he said, it's going to present itself. We're going to find the right vehicle and partner to be able to help millions and millions of people. This is not tweet out your experience or Instagram your experience, and it's a here today, gone tomorrow. This is how can you use your platform that speaks to over 70 million people to do something for humanity, do something that affects millions of people around the world. It's not just your fight, it's everyone's fight.
Was it important to get kind of ahead of it or distance yourself away from it before you went public, as opposed to, oh, he's in and this is what's going on? Like, did you want to present yourself as, no, I
wanted to heal.
I'm making it.
I wanted to heal. Let the man heal, as Tracy Morgan said on the other show. I was watching his testimony and what his experience. He's like, you know, I forgot who asked him that. He said, well, how come you didn't come out, you know, publicly? He's like, let the man heal. Can I heal first?
Yeah.
Can I heal? Can I be the person that you've known as a warrior, as a fighter that could present his testimony and help others, inspire others with your love and your experience. So that's kind of what my thing was like. I'm not, you know, one person that I love dearly and is my biggest inspiration is Fife. Rest in peace. Fife Dog forever. When I found out he was sick, and he was sick for a long time, it broke my heart because I love the guy so much, and he is the reason why Black Eyed Peas is where we're at. If it wasn't for Tribe Called Quest, there would be no Black Eyed Peas. And I never wanted to feel like I would tell people and not be able to heal, because the last thing I wanted to do was allow myself to give up on my fight. Right. Before I got to telling the world. You know.
Did you ever think like, man, I also, let me heal, but also I don't want to put this on everybody as well too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's strength and there's power and there's prayer, and you had a circle of people around you.
Right.
Without going public until you were ready to go public, were you ever anywhere else in public, and did somebody ever ask you, "Are you okay?" Did you
know
ever
what?
have a drawn look?
It's funny. I was doing my groundwork with the American Cancer Society. Who that's my partner now. Like that's who I partnered up to tell my story and to actually be an advocate and help people out. I'm an ambassador of the American Cancer Society. So we did these different events called the VTech Relay for Life. They're called Relay for Lives. And I was at VTech University, and we were in front of 10,000 students, and we were talking about, different people were talking about their experience with cancer. And they're like, "Can you say something?" I go up there, and it's a vigil, right? Vigil.
Vigil.
Yeah.
Candles are lit. People's emotions are high. People are crying. They're looking at me. And for a split second, I wanted to tell everyone, I'm not up here as a celebrity or an artist. I'm up here as a cancer survivor. But I held on to it. I bit my tongue. I did one of these. I looked around, and then I had to back up from the microphone and regain my composure. And then I went back and talked about a little girl that's close to us that is going through the fight. Wow. That happened at VTech. Then we did another one in Puerto Rico, and it was like all these people wearing purple shirts as a sign of being survivors. And that spoke to me as a survivor. So I'm doing Where's the Love, and it breaks down, song is so powerful, and the messaging of Where's the Love was so powerful at the time that I'm speaking to the people and I'm saying, thank you, we're in this fight together. And I wanted to tell them I'm a survivor too. I need that purple shirt on too. But I didn't, because I knew that there was going to be this big rollout and a campaign.
There was another platform.
There was another platform that was bigger than just saying it at that time. So,
because I remember even just coming in, it was times when you'd like, no, not today.
Not today, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, we're talking about, this, or we're talking about Where's the Love. We're talking like, no.
And it was hard, Big, because I love you so much as a brother that I'm like, I want to tell you. I want to tell the world, but I have to do it right.
Also, I didn't want to break this story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I would rather not have a story to break.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I would love for it to have just been, man, I'm about to go around the country and we about to do this, and the Black Eyed Peas, we're in the studio. But this right here, man, this is possibly bigger than any accomplishment that you've had.
Agreed. Yeah.
And this isn't part of, now for one, there's many survivors, and you're in a beautiful family, and everyone has some kind of link to that.
Right.
But this isn't the Black Eyed Peas where it's, this person, that person, and this is you solo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's absolutely no one, and a lot of us would have said, you know what, bro, if I could take a day of that sickness, just give it to me, Tab. No one could do that. So that fight was extremely, extremely solo.
Yeah.
And I know that, I feel it had to be dark.
It was dark. But the thing that came out of that darkness was a song that I created with my team, Carlina Covington and Joshua Alvarez, who are part of my writing team, called The Fight, that we're actually putting out with the American Cancer Society. The donations or the proceeds go to help in this fight against cancer. You could go to cancer.org to hear the song and to get the song. And it's not about selling a song. It's about the meaning behind the fight. Because it doesn't have to necessarily mean a fight with against cancer. It could be any fight that that any person is going through. Struggle. Especially in this climate with what happened with the election. And we need messaging. We need something to gravitate to and say, you know what? I feel this way. I feel down today. I need to fight through this. I need to get through this. I'm a warrior. I'm a champion. Yeah. I'm a fighter.
Now, you know what's crazy about it, man, is like, and when you, even before we say warrior, everything, like you had this warrior vibe and this warrior look.
Yeah.
And no matter what accolades, it's possibly God that said, I'm going to give this man something that he's going to be able to speak to the world. Yeah. You thought it was 1 million people in the audience, it was Brazil. Like this right here, man, this is the bigger thing.
Exactly.
Where
it's a bigger purpose. Big. You know, I always say I don't want to leave a catalog of music. I'm going to leave a legacy for my kids to understand that Dad wasn't just, you know, a Black Eyed Pea or an actor or, you know, an author. He actually did something for humanity because he went through an experience. He overcame drugs and alcoholism. He overcame.
And then you think that was the fight?
Yeah.
You know, you're like, man, that was the fight.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. Especially, you know.
That was a warm up.
Right.
That was the undercard.
That's That's down there in the gym.
Yeah.
Were you always a guy? Did you go to the doctor? Did you get checkups? Or how important would you say that is now?
You know what? I was so caught up in my career. It's sad because a lot of us are guilty of that. You know, we get so caught up in I gotta make it. I gotta make money. I gotta get this. I gotta get that because
the schedule doesn't call for it.
And you're like, you know, especially I find it, and it's sad. You find it in a lot of Latinos that. Even the elders, they'll be like, you know, pon vaporú, mijo. Put some Vicks right here. Vicks on my back, on my knee, and it's a big ball. Es una bola. It's okay. It's a ball.
Sánalo. Sí.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
rana.
So, you know, these things turn out to be tumors, and a lot of us kind of just go out about our day, and we don't really pay attention to our bodies or listen to our bodies. And that's the important thing is
your body tells you, man. It sends you a message.
Yeah. And I think it was.
Did you think you got so used to feeling a certain way that you just thought, just want to, yeah.
I did. You know? I would always tell him like, my back hurts. He's like, dude, you got to get that checked. Nah, it's cool. It's just.
And you had broken your tailbone.
It's my tailbone.
Yeah.
How many times did I tell you that, Deja? Monthly. My back's hurting. Oh, dude, you should get that checked. Nah, it's cool. It's my tailbone. It comes from my tailbone. But you know, I didn't listen to his advice. I didn't listen to my wife's advice. I just kept going. I was like, I gotta do what I gotta do. And plus,
it's hot right now.
Plus, the P's had taken a hiatus, so I was on like, I gotta do me.
Yeah,
I gotta make it as me, as an artist, and this, that, Zumbao, that. All these things were being
like it's my time.
It's my time. I gotta go. I gotta prove to myself that I'm gonna be my own all-star and entity outside of my mothership, which is the P's. So that being said, I put out a single called Zumbao, and that was for the Latin market, and it was taking off, and I had taken off my shirt literally in the video, and I had never done that, but I was so confident about my physique, thanks to DB and Yushi and these different trainers that along the way helped me out with my motivation, that a month later, I was laying in a bed with cancer. So all that physical training and all the eating right and all, it doesn't matter. Cancer has no prejudice. You could be a 3-year-old, you could be a 39-year-old, you could be in tip-top shape, or you could be an overweight person. Cancer has no prejudice. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to educate people about prevention, proper steps that we could take to prevent, because it is
what
preventative.
are some of those things, Tab?
Diet is, nutrition, working out.
Because I know
not smoking.
With Robin Quivers, they were saying that and she works with Stern. They were saying that the cancer she had, if she wasn't like vegan at the time and taking care of her body, they said she would not have survived.
And like I said, I had to really change up my eating because I couldn't even eat. So even if I wanted to eat, healthy, I couldn't even eat a Ritz cracker, a little piece of a Ritz cracker, because the taste buds were gone. Metallic taste, no taste buds, no appetite. It was just shot, and it was the worst time because I love to eat, and I couldn't eat anything. So I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, ladies and gentlemen. So people listening out there that know someone or have a family member or a friend that are going through it, please be empathetic about their situation, because you don't know how severe it is unless you are going through it.
Did you ever get angry?
I did.
Any mood swings?
I did. I had a lot of mood swings, and I had moments where I was like, I was beating myself down. I was too critical on my own self. And I believe that I brought that upon myself. It's like all the times that I used to do this and that. And I was like, karma. I believe in karma. And I don't know why I was just questioning myself and really doubting my life, doubting my career, doubting the success and all the stuff that I went through, because it was all an accumulation of the meds I was on, the chemotherapy. It really messes with your mind. It's not just your body, it's your mind. It's just like, it drives you crazy. It makes you into, it's called chemo brain. That's what we call it, chemo brain. And it just turns you into like zombie-like thoughts. Yeah. And I actually tried to go to find a group, like a group meeting, kind of like AA, but this was for cancer. I found one, but it was all women. It was like 20-minute women who were speaking about ovarian cancer and breast cancer. And here I am, the only man in the room, and I was going to talk about testicular cancer, but they were so angry and so aggravated and just intense that I had to walk away from it. And I said, I don't know where to turn to. Yeah. So luckily, with my journey with the American Cancer Society, I found a place where they actually have a 24-hour hotline in Texas where they give you different things that you need to know. If you have questions about where you could go as far as group meetings, or a place where they have facilities where you don't need insurance to get chemotherapy or help. Oh, wow. They provide that. And because of the American Cancer Society, I got well educated about different places where you could go and get help.
You had to learn something that you never knew in your life. That's like you getting on a plane and landing, and somebody say you got to be fluent in German right now.
Right now.
Right now.
And I had a crash course of how many weeks did we do that? We went to the Hope Lodge. We went to over 4 weeks. I was in a crash course, going to laboratories, going to the Grady Hospital, going to VTech Relay for Life, and just being in the trenches and becoming part of the world. You talk about, Comic-Con like world, you talk about sneaker world. This is a totally different gambit, because you're learning about different cures and different vaccines, different types of viruses, all these different things that I would have never imagined that my mind would even comprehend, because I'm in creative mode. Now I had to become like straight up, science and the medical world, and just understanding, so that when I'm asked these questions, I'm pretty well versed on what I have to say and give my perspective.
Taboo, I got to ask you this, since having the chemotherapy, being diagnosed with cancer, how have you changed your life? I know it had to change you somehow.
Yeah, so after my last round of chemotherapy, my doctor says, you fought really hard. You look really great. I look like shit. Oh. He says, you look great. You fought really hard, but there's just one thing. Because you suffered so much trauma, I really doubt that you have you're gonna be able to have kids. Oh wow! I was like, well, I have 3 boys, but I always wanted to have a daughter. Yeah. So I remember we went to the sperm bank prior to that, because they told us specifically that, and so we got we went back and we talked about in vitro and talked about all this science at HRC, and it just wasn't for us. I told my wife, I said, you know what? I'm not going to pay to have a kid. I want to do this naturally. If it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. I mean, dude, this always chokes me up. I always get choked up about this, but a month later, my wife tells me she's pregnant. And we had a beautiful daughter. We call her our miracle baby.
Oh my God.
That's beautiful.
So my daughter right here, Jet, is my survivor. She's the one that made it through the experience. She had no medical.
Oh my God.
There was nothing wrong with her. So
she's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Oh my
Congratulations.
God.
It's beautiful.
So Jet Juliana was my daughter that was born after my experience with cancer, and I have a special place in my heart for her, because I love my children unconditionally, but she was born when they said it was impossible for her to be born. And she's healthy. She's an amazing little bundle of joy, and I'm so proud that I say that my last child, my 4th child, was a daughter, but she's the one that's like the little train that fought on, And I'm just so happy that I was able to be blessed with another child.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
So,
Thank you.
anyone? I know.
Yeah.
I'm
You
like
t-
filled with emotion.
Right.
you earlier you talked about, that you hadn't really had like a full spiritual kind of relationship, I guess. How is that relationship between God or whatever it is that you believe in? What has that been like now?
Well, it's I don't ask for things no more. Like I'll always be like, please God, let me get this, Nike deal or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I know that God gave me the greatest gift. And God to me is not a person thing or, a visual. It's an energy. And I believe that my grandmother was my biggest influence in my life. She was my native warrior, and she was looking down at me and gave me that strength to fight on. But I don't ever ask God, please, I need a new car. I need this. I need that. Because I know he gave me another chance. I was supposed to die when I became sober because I was taking everything. I mean, I was on a suicidal path when I was using and abusing when I went back 10 years ago. And I thought like, wow, I've been given a second chance.
Like,
at life.
this is it.
This is it. I'm alive again,
Yeah.
right? But then this cancer situation happened, and I was like, thank you, God. I'm good. I'm good. I know what I could do. I fear no death no more. I am not fearful of death.
How afraid are you for your loved ones? Like your wife, the kids. Does it give you, is there a fear there as well?
There's always a fear because I'm in my 5-year, they call it the 5-year plan. So I could go back into, that's why I get checked up every 3 months, make sure that everything's all good. Because
How is it
it's good
at this moment?
It's good.
Praise God.
I always say I'm better, stronger, faster now than I've ever been because I know what that white light was. I saw that.
Tab, you really thought I'm going to die?
I did. And you can't explain it unless you go through it. People be like, it's just testicular cancer. No. It's chemotherapy, son.
Right.
It's not
it's cancer.
It's cancer. It's chemotherapy that took me out. It's nobody experiences it. If you don't experience it and you're not a person fighting through it, then you can't say shit about it. Because people's perspective is jaded and it's stage 2. Cancer is cancer to me. I don't care if it's stage 2 or testicular or it's just a fight. And I learned a lot about myself. I learned about centering myself. I got into meditation. I never thought I'd be into yoga. As a b-boy, I like my flexibility, but yoga has taught me a lot about centering myself. Acupuncture. I'm even gonna try crystal healing. When I was in the hospital, I had Reiki healing. So I'm trying different forms of centering myself. It may not be for everybody, but for me, because what did you call me the other day? Yesterday, when you were like, yo, you're such a kook. He called me a kook. I'm such a kook that I try things to see how I could better myself as a human being, what's best for me. And I found that to be more centering for my life and, just trying to apply every day and appreciate every day and not letting my day pass me by.
It's crazy how much you took on for so many other people. Like even just sitting here, Tab, like, you think, man, like if he could get through that, then what could we get through?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it doesn't have to be cancer.
It could be anything.
Could be anything.
Yeah.
Anything, because here you are thinking this is a death sentence. And to come here and speak, this isn't about a new album or, I did do the Nike deal. This is, I want to tell my story so you could get something out of what I've been through.
Right.
I've paid a tuition into the school of experience that I want to share with everyone.
Millions of people around the world. And it's like, I always think of the platform that I have and how many people we reach with music and a performance. Music and a performance is the frequency that I've kind of, I could say I mastered with the P's. How do we transcend language through our sound and through our rhythm and the frequency of positivity and music. But that's not all that there is to life. There's something bigger, and I went into that front line to understand my purpose. My purpose is not just that. That's a cool platform, but my purpose now is to be of service, to help others, and that's what I want to go down for. Is how what does your next 30 years look like?
Mm-hmm.
You know, eventually, my dream is to be able to, like Oscar De La Hoya, when he made he created a spot in the honor of his mother who died of cancer.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And he built a facility specifically for that. And that's something that I, in the future, want to do as well. You know, there's so many things that I'm fascinated by, but this is my experience. And I want to help, especially kids, because I'm a father.
Yeah, man.
And when I went to the children's hospital, right? We went to the children's hospital, and I was doing my last chemo run. And I just remember feeling like these kids have no idea, but yet they're happy. They're like, you know, it's normal to them. To us as adults, we know fear, we know inhibition, and we know you know, the barriers and boundaries. But for the kids, they're either born like that, or sometimes these kids get it at 3 years old, 5-year-old, and it's just part of their.
Yeah, I had a little buddy named Frankie, bro.
Yeah.
And that was the closest I had ever been to cancer.
Yeah.
Going to chemotherapy, so on and so forth. Rest in peace right now. But one thing I noticed also is, and that's why I encourage people, everyone, to go and get a test, go to the doctor, get a physical, whatever it may be. Ladies, check yourself, whatever it may be.
It's important.
But what tripped me out also, Tab, and you've been to Children's Hospital, where it's so many of us in there too.
Right.
You know, and not that this is a race, but there's so many black and brown and so many babies, and that it's mind blowing.
True.
And I always say, man, these kids are dealing with something that as an adult, I wouldn't want to handle.
Exactly. Exactly.
And these kids, man, so the job that you're doing, what you're speaking on, and who would have thought 2.5 years ago that in 2016 that a whole different mission would have been placed on you.
Yep.
And you would have stood up to the call, because you could have just said, you know what, I'm dealing with it privately. I'm doing, you know, I'm cool. I don't want people looking at me a certain way. And then once you got past the hump, like, you know, let's just keep it in the family. But you took that, bro, with nothing to gain but awareness.
I learned something really important from Lance Armstrong's experience, is that, you know, whatever happened with his situation, he really made an impact to bring awareness to not just testicular cancer, but to cancer as a whole. You know, he had a platform and a vehicle and all these different partnerships to be able to bring awareness. And I want to take it to the next step, as a survivor, as an advocate, as a human being, as a father, to be able to do something that will resonate with people all over the world.
Are there anything?
Yeah, if you, I know there's like so many layers to your story, but if you could pick one, what piece of advice would you give to somebody going through the same fight?
You're not alone. You are not alone. Even though I experienced the loneliness that comes along with the chemo, and you know, even if there's people in the room,
But you are not.
you're not alone. There's people out there that are going through it, and there's like I said, the American Cancer Society has different facilities and places where, you know, if you need, like the Hope Lodge is a perfect example. It's in Atlanta. It's a place where it's a facility where you could bring your family, and it's not so sterile. It doesn't seem like a hospital. They actually give you a family environment, and they actually provide transportation to take you to go get your chemo. And that's amazing that there's facilities like that where it doesn't feel so sterile, and it doesn't feel like I'm a cancer patient.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm going through my thing. I got my family with me, and you're not alone.
When you do, let me ask you this though, Tab. When you're going through chemo, and your immune system is hit like that, do you have to be at the hospital or at home and extremely careful
Definitely.
of your surroundings?
Big. So this is how extreme it is. The The chemo that I had was called etoposide. That was the one that would take me out. Etoposide and cisplats platinum. The nurse would bring it in a hazmat suit.
Wow.
Sure.
And that's
Hazmat
going
suit.
into you.
Right, Deja?
And that's
Wow.
going
And
into
that's going
you.
into me. So she would have the hazmat gloves on, the wardrobe. She didn't have the helmet on. And she's
Everything.
holding the chemo medication like this. with the
Arms
gloves,
straight out.
Arms straight out. And then they have, this is what tripped me out. I took video of it. They have a trash can that says bio hazardous chemical waste. And they throw the bag in there
Immediately.
Immediately.
Wow.
And they're putting that
And they're
in
putting
you.
that in your body. So
Like, I can't even throw this into a
Wow.
regular trash
No, it's
can.
gotta go into that
I
thing.
can't touch this by hand, but I got to put it into your body.
Yeah.
And for me to kill everything bad, I got to kill everything good.
Yep. Yeah.
Man, Taboo, I thank you for coming
Thank
into the
you so
neighborhood,
much.
man.
Thank
And for
you.
those out there, real quick, with you being with the American Cancer Society, correct?
Yes, sir.
I want to express to people as well that it's not just someone taking care of Taboo, the celebrity.
Right.
You know, like there's great programs, there's great things that they can go online. There is a lot of help out
A lot
there,
of help.
correct?
Yeah. And I'm just using my voice and my experience to be able to tell my story and my testimony to help others through this crazy fight, because it affects millions and millions of people around the world. And I was blessed to have met the right people at the American Cancer Society, Sharon Byers and Gary Julianne. Everybody's been great and supportive, and they've all kind of taught me a lot about the cancer world, because I didn't know anything. I was like my doctor, David Agus, always says, you're not a cancer patient, you are a cancer when you're going through it. And so because I fought and I'm a survivor, I felt like I needed to find the right vehicle for me. There's a lot of vehicles and a lot of organizations and people that could help out. But for me, my journey was best suited to be partnered up with the American Cancer Society.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Taboo, is there anything else that you would like to say?
I want to thank you, Big,
Thank
ladies,
Thank
Louis.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
Monica over there.
Monica.
She's with us.
The tears that you shed today were so really hit me in my heart, because I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm not trying to market anything. This is like my life, and I'm glad that emotionally people it resonates with people, and it's authentic and it's genuine, and that's the message that I want to get out, is like, be genuine, be authentic, be real to your story, and let people know that it affects millions of people, but use your voice to be able to help others.
Man, and it's crazy what some
Well
people
said.
think is a problem sometimes. Huh?
No doubt. It's true. Oh, God, my car's,
Yeah, man.
it's in the
Tire blew
shop.
out.
And
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
We go about
And that's
our
your
days.
moment. That's your
cool.
thing.
That's your thing. But, unless you're fighting something that's bigger than you and out of your control,
Yeah.
don't.
Hey, man, it was a guy by the name of Maury Sage, and Maury, rest in peace. But he told me, he said, you can go into a room with your problem, and whatever problems you have, he said, everybody would throw their problem on the table. And he said 9 times out of 9, you'll pick your same problem up and walk back out with it
Right.
when you see other people's. Like,
I'll take mine
because if
back.
you would have threw
Yeah.
yours on, I would have been like, whoa, okay,
Yeah,
I'm
true.
I'm
And that's-
I'm out of here.
That's why I say, I wouldn't wish what I went through upon my worst enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying I have any enemies, because I don't. I'm sharing love, spreading love. But my thing is, I'm just glad to be here with
Yeah.
you guys.
Mm-hmm.
More than anything, I get to share this moment with my friends and people that actually want to share that with your listeners and the people out there that need
To
that
hear it.
that
Yeah, man.
to hear that and to get that reinforcement that there's people out there that care and that have experienced it and that want to do something to help.
Yeah. Can I ask really quickly?
Please.
What was the moment like when your doctor you did your final scan and they're like remission or clean, cancer free? What was that moment like?
Man, I remember getting on my knees and praying and saying, thank you for letting me fight this and get through this. I thank my nanny, which is my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
That's always my go-to, because she was
What's crazy? Just reading your book, right?
yeah,
Like, this isn't even in the book. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
It's true, dude. And a lot of people say, "Damn, Tab, you got another book in
Yeah,
you."
man.
But that was a process, I went through that experience, and I don't know. I feel like I got a lot more to do. I met with my mom yesterday, and I remember my mom said, "You know how much you've done, son? You know how much?" I said, "Mom, the work's not done yet. I got more to do.
Right.
It just got started." That 21 years of being a P, creating music and performing and all the great things that I've done with my career is nothing compared to what I'm going to do with this platform and this vehicle and the purpose that I have now to help, to be of service, and not to be about me, not to be about the vanity and the person that just wants to be caught up in themselves, and it happened. It happened to me. I got caught up in myself, and I got caught up in, I'm going to put out Zumbao, and I'm going to be an artist, and I'm going to do, but then, the creator was like, hold on.
Right.
Wait a minute.
I'm going to sit you down.
I'm going to sit you down. I'm going to hit you with something that you've never, ever, ever imagined that you would be fighting for.
Like,
That's your life. And so I'm here by the grace of God, and I appreciate everybody.
Let me ask you this real quick, Tab, before, and it's going to be so many. Let me ask you
then-
this. But, and not knowing, the scientific number and this number and this, but when you do have testicular cancer, is that almost pretty much like you're not going to have kids anymore?
Yeah.
That's almost fair to say that.
And you know what's weird? I don't know if this is gonna be funny.
Like
or not,
some people won't have. Some people's like
some
you
people,
won't have.
Yeah,
kids
you have a
anymore.
lower
count.
Especially if you're doing intense.
And yours is
chemotherapy.
intense.
Oh, mine was like hardcore. Funny thing is that the doctor said, "Would you like a prosthetic?"
No.
Oh yeah. Heard
Like
of
for
that.
shape and everything.
Yeah, I was like, prosthetic? A prosthetic ball?
Right. Yeah.
For real? Nah, I'm good, man. I'll keep it a speed bag.
I heard that. and your wife probably like it. You know what I'm saying?
My wife's gonna love me with cancer, without cancer, no
Love
matter
that.
what, and I'm blessed. I want to send a big shout out to my wife, my
my
kids, my baby, my miracle baby, Jet Juliana. I'm very, very, very blessed to have all my children. And thank you,
Tab,
babe.
what you showed us earlier,
Yeah.
just a trailer or something.
Yeah.
Is that a full video or is that what was that you showed to us?
Well,
Commercial?
It's
that's a TV commercial. There's
Oh,
a 60-second spot and a 30-second spot that will be airing nationwide.
Nice.
And we also got billboards in Times Square. We're doing this, this helping people by messaging and by having me as a person that is going to be able to speak to the kids, especially the youth, because the youth, you bring a doctor to speak to the youth, they're going to be like, boring. You bring a person that is a
Disconnected.
survivor and is part of pop culture to speak about his experience and speak the language of the youth. You're gonna reach more people.
Yeah.
So that
and we didn't ask any of this, man, but when you're going through something like this, man, what's your relationship with Will and with App and with Fergie? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I know as a brother,
Yeah.
they had to hate seeing you go through this fight.
I remember Apple was the first one to come to the hospital, and I was doing Reiki healing, and App walks in and he gave me this look like, this is some serious shit.
Yeah.
This is serious. What's going on? Like, this isn't Tab that was on the stage. How long ago was the Rebuild the Philippines prior to that? Like a month. And I was, Zoom bowing out, Zoom, and they had seen me for the first time. And they're like, damn, Tab, you've been working out. You look great. You're in tip-top shape. And then the following month, he sees me in a bed fighting for my life.
Could you see it in their eyes?
I did. I saw it in Apps. Like, he was scared for me. I saw it in Deja's eyes. I've never really seen Deja cry, but I've seen the tears. I saw the tears in his eyes and the severity of my situation. And then I remember calling Will. Will's like, get the fuck out of here. You don't have no cancer. What are you talking about? I'm like, no, Will, I'm serious. I got diagnosed with cancer. He was in shock. And then Ferg and Josh Duhamel and baby Axel came. He was a baby at the time. And they were just like shocked to see me like on a couch, just posted up, looking pale with no eyebrows, bald head, just like, you know, what people see and experience, you know, and you got to be empathetic about that, because there's a lot of people that feel what I felt, and they feel like I'm ugly. I'm not myself. I'm a shell of myself. And it's sad because we go through that. As you know, as vain as it sounds, people got to know you guys are not alone, because I went through the same thing.
Did you have to stay in the house a lot
I
too,
did.
Tab?
I remember going to Comic-Con, because I'm a Comic-Con head and I love that environment. And I could only walk maybe I would say 5 minutes, and I'll be tired.
And you still gotta be taboo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been with you many places around the world, and it's like people stop you, people, and you still had to be taboo. Or did you dress up? Did
no,
you hide?
I didn't. I was myself.
Dressed up, Jack. I would have been
Here's my
like,
Batman
man.
I was myself, but I was kind of like irritable because of the medication.
Right.
So I felt like I was being kind of dicky at times, and I had to walk away and say, you know, I was irritated with that because I just wanted to enjoy my moment at Comic-Con. But I was so medicated and chemo brain that it didn't allow me to just be myself.
And you never had anyone that asked, were you okay when you were out in public?
I did. I had a couple of people say, you look sick. You all right? And I couldn't say anything. Nah, I'm good. I remember at the Latina Awards, remember that? Or what was it, Latina Magazine. And I walked in, and I think it was Adrienne Bayon. She looked at me and she gave me that look like,
You was like, uh-oh.
you look a little different. You don't look the same. And that's because I had no eyebrows.
Damn.
So when you see somebody walk in, they ain't got no eyebrows, and you're like pale, white.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, I was skinnier than I was before. It's like, oh damn, is he on drugs? Is he? You know, you just don't know. Is he sick? What's going on with him? So, well,
God bless you.
yeah,
bro.
man. So now I'm better, stronger, faster than I ever have been. And the one thing that I want people to know is that my gift is motivation, inspiration, hope, and movement. Because I want people to know that even though I went through that, I'm not like, I didn't curl up in a ball and say this is how my life ends. I'm this guy for the rest of my life. I'm not gonna end my fight. Now my fight has continued into advocacy and helping, being of service.
And did you, now I'm pretty sure as a member of the Black Eyed Peas and just all around the world, you guys had to do at least one Make-A-Wish for somebody with cancer.
It's sad to say, but we never have.
Never have.
Sad to say.
But you've met a lot of parents that brought people, or...
That's why I did it on my own. That's why I did going to the children's hospital, and I got I was very fortunate to work along with Padres contra el Cancer, which is Eva Longoria's. She's an ambassador at that as well. We're actually doing a celebrity softball game on Saturday.
And they would be there.
I'm going to be playing.
Oh, me too.
She would be there.
I'm super excited.
You got
Yeah, I'm
the info
excited
on
about that.
Yeah, it's going to be this Saturday at the
Yes.
Dodger Stadium, and it's Adrian Gonzalez is
Yes.
also an ambassador. So this is his second annual Bat for Hope for Padres contra el Cancer, which is literally Parents Against Cancer.
So I played
it's a
last year.
beautiful event.
I played
you
last year, and the thing about it is that I wanted to share my story right there. And I was like, ugh.
And people didn't even know why you were there. They
Didn't
was
know.
like, oh,
Yeah.
he's supporting.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
Like, no, man.
I always tell them that like
I'm in the
people see
club.
me. People see me at different events. You know, whether it's VTech or they're like, oh, he cares about us,
Right.
And I'm like, if you only knew
They
that
know
this
now,
is not
brother.
a publicity stunt. This is not
Right.
celebrity lending a celebrity. This is some real experience that I went through, and I'm connected. That's why I say in the commercial, I am you, you are me, we are in this together.
Man, Tab, I appreciate you, brother. I love you.
I love you too, bro.
We've had so many
you so
times
much.
behind this microphone,
Yep.
but this is the realest conversation that we've had, bro. And I thank
sir.
you for coming in and just speaking to the world.
Yep.
Taboo, ladies and gentlemen, Big Boy's
Big
neighborhood.
Boy.